All right, welcome in, my friends. Okay, so let's talk some real estate news. So if you're a buyer, I've got some good news and possibly some bad news. And if you're actually a homeowner, you might not be as recession proof as you originally thought. So stay tuned and I'll cover exactly what I'm talking about. Hey, by the way, my name's Edward Fuller, local real estate agent out in Salt Lake City, Utah. If you want to get in contact with me, my information is below. Feel free to call me or text me. So it's kind of hard to believe that we're almost like 15 days through the new year, or a little past 15 days, depending on when you viewed this. Craziness. So let's start with the most important topic. It's always going to be inventory anytime that I'm talking about real estate news. You may be asking why, or you've already heard me say this. Inventory is really, really important because it is one of the major components that's going to dictate prices of homes and that sort of thing. Looking at some of the national news first before I dive into actually Utah, there is this known or a new phenomenon of the lock-in effect. So the lock-in effect is essentially people that have low mortgages and they don't want to get rid of their home or get that upgrade because there's such a different spread. There's so much more of a payment that they're going to have to take on. So nationwide, 88% of homeowners with a mortgage have an interest rate below 6%. And that's actually down from a record 92% from mid 2022. So we're getting better on that lock-in effect. You know, we'll start to subside or to reduce a little bit as we kind of go through the motions of this high interest environment that we're in. So still like 88% of homeowners, they actually have a rate below the current market rate of 6.6, 88%. That's a high number. I mean, can you blame them? Who wants to sell their home and they probably have like a 2% interest rate and take on a 6.5% interest rate on a more expensive home? Their payment's going to be absolutely outrageous. So I get it. That's one of the things that is affecting our low inventory issue that we currently have right now. Utah, there's a couple other factors that I'll talk about here shortly. CSNBC said within the first week of this year, so 2024, mortgage applications continue to increase. So the demand is very much there. They said that it was actually about 10% increase of mortgage applications. So we still have a low inventory issue and more of an issue coupled with some pretty good demand considering, you know, where we're at as far as mortgages go or mortgage interest rates go. Applications for purchases again rose this week 6%, but that's still about 16% lower than the previous year. Again, demand, it's still very much there, not going away anytime soon. Total mortgage application, like I said, compared to the prior week is about 10%. A quick touch on the T-bill. So I don't know if I've talked about this before and why it's important. The T-bill is directly correlated to mortgage rates or interest rates, that is. If you look at the T-bill, usually there's about a 1% spread from the T-bill and what a 30-year mortgage is. Currently, the T-bill is sitting at 3.994. Now you're going, okay, well, why are interest rates so high? Well, we have some out-of-the-box situations. We're actually sitting in a very abnormal spread. So we're currently about 1.5 or 1.7% to 2%, which makes sense because we're about a 6.5%. Once that spread normalizes and we still maintain that low T-bill, so this is just a 10-year treasury bond. Once that T-bill, stays where it is and we normalize that spread, we'll probably get to these lower interest rates, which you buyers are like, yes, low interest rates, finally, we've been waiting forever, but it's coming. So hang in there. CoreLogic actually published their predictions for forecasting growth nationally. So they're actually coming out and saying that this year in 2024, we'll probably see about a 2.5% increase in home prices, which that falls in line with a lot of the national info gatherers, i.e. like Zillow. Redfin's the outlier. I think they were actually saying that we're going to have like a 1% decrease, but yet we're going to have an increase in sales, but still a decrease in inventory. Okay, sure. So homeowners, I told you guys that you might not be as recession or inflation proof as we originally thought. And what I mean by that, so with all the home price increases that we've had over the last couple of years, a lot of your property values have gone up. So the county assessors, like the assessor's office, actually could be looking at increasing the actual value of the property associated with them, and then you get taxed more. Not only that, we could be looking at insurance premium adjustments. So mainly this is going to affect it's more the lower US, below the Bible Belt, where you could see increased premiums. So that right there is going to hit the pocketbook of a lot of homeowners, and maybe even in some areas where there is likely flooding. So floodplains in your local state, that could be also impacted. I'll try to put the link for the map of where these areas are going to be most effective in the description down below. Now, to all my Utah people, my Utah home buyers or my sellers, we're going to go down to the macro for Utah. From November, Utah was up about 3.5% increase in home prices. There was about 13,253 homes for sale in Utah, which is down year over year about 9.5%. So we're not at normal levels. Amount of homes being sold hasn't normalized. We're still considerably lower. Number of new listings was up about 2,500. So that's 4% increase from the last couple of years, like those pandemic years that we had where it was just an absolute mad rush and crazy stuff was happening. Demand still there, clearly. Median sales price for Utah. This actually, when I saw this, I was like, man, we are cruising. So year over year, we're actually, according to this from MSNBC, we're up. So they said that the average sale price for a home, $546,000. Craziness, absolute craziness. Days on market, it's right in line with years past, 49. Number of homes sold, we already kind of touched on this, but still down 2.5%. So what was the bad news for buyers that I'm talking about? Inventory for the Utah in general and Salt Lake fell. So beginning of the year, ended in December, there was about 8,200 homes. The last I just checked, there was only 7,500 total homes available for Utah. And then to compound that, if we looked at Salt Lake County, we saw a pretty large reduction in building applications. So homes being built. Why is that bad? Well, we have a low inventory and builders aren't building. We've seen a reduction in actual total applications. Why this could be with high interest rates, it obviously is going to be more expensive for them to borrow the money necessary to build these homes, or they're moving into more luxury spaces where they can possibly have a little bit better of a margin. So there's a couple contributing factors. My big thing is I think it's just too expensive for them to borrow money and build affordable, normal homes for us everyday Americans. Yeah, local mortgage rates stay about national average, maybe a couple points higher depending on the lender that you looked at. I do have a video on choosing a lender. I'll put that above. Our average here is about 6.5 to 6.7. I have heard some rates get locked in as low as 6.125, 6.125. So that's looking good. Buyers, that's great for you. But obviously on the flip side of that, there's nothing really truly available. There's some nice homes out there, but it's on the low side. It's definitely on the low side. So if you're shopping for a home, these are the top 10 fastest growing cities within Utah and the surrounding areas. So coming in at number 1 with projected growth, the sales price growth, this is crazy. Murray, Utah, Magna coming in at 2, Mill Creek, St. George, Harriman, Cottonwood Heights, South Jordan, clearly. South Jordan is super desirable, obviously. Provo, I get that one. Really great family environment. Salt Lake City, the downtown area, and then number 10, Pleasant Grove. So those are the top 10 cities of price growth that we're going to see. And then if we go a little bit further, so you're shopping for a home, okay, what are going to be the most competitive areas within, this is just the Salt Lake area. This isn't Utah. I'm just doing the Salt Lake area on this one. Actually, no, this is the 10 most competitive Utah cities. Excuse me. 10 most competitive cities: White City, Utah, Sunset, South Salt Lake, Utah, Taylorsville, Harrisville, Kearns, Magna, Woods Cross, Washington Trace, and Clearfield, Utah. So those are your top 10 most competitive cities. So if you're looking in one of those areas, I'm sorry that it made the list, but maybe you might want to consider a couple different areas that didn't make that top 10 list to look in and see if you can't find those deals that are out there. Okay, that's all I have for you. Hopefully you got some great information out there. I do have a great series that is coming out where I'm going to be visiting each individual city and doing a couple cool things in there. So you're definitely going to want to stay tuned to my channel because I will be bringing those videos out. As always, I love you all. God bless. Like and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Have a great one.